bearing the biggest brunt of government-sponsored violence. Memorial service held for slain mask vendor Boniface Mwangi Kariuki ahead of his burial on Friday. Get in touch with us tonight on EBN TV across all streaming platforms. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Laura Omondi. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Let's get this show started. In a charged reaction to the recent events around the Sabasaba protests that saw the killing of at least 31 Kenyans, President William Ruto on Wednesday spoke tough, saying enough is enough. The president that there is an attempt by the opposition to overthrow his government, saying he will go after alleged coup plotters whom he did not name. The president, who spoke in Nairobi, also issued a shoot-in-the-leg order to the police to deal with looters destroying property during demonstrations.
Nataka niwaambie viongozi hawa wa kuishiwa hapa, kwa sababu wanazunguka hapa town. Kwanza niliona ati wanasema ati sasa hawatangojea 2027 ati tupige kura. Ati wanataka kupanga fujo. Ati wapange maandamano. Ati wachome mali ya watu. Ati walete maafa Kenya. Ati ndio wapindue serikali ya Kenya kabla ya 2027. Mimi nataka niwaambie wajaribu. Watajua hawajui. Wajaribu. Allah. Hii ni Kenya ya demokrasia, my friends. Kenya ni nchi ya demokrasia. Hamwezi kutuambia ya kwamba mnaweza kupanga fujo ati mpindue serikali ya Kenya. Tafuteni vizuri. I want to tell those characters, the ones who are telling us, giving us lectures, that they can change this administration using unlawful, using violence, using unlawful means at before 2027. Let them try. Unajua wananiambia sijui nini, sijui Moi, sijui Moi. Moi alikuwa rais wa Kenya. Vile Kibaki alikuwa rais wa Kenya. Vile Uhuru alikuwa rais wa Kenya. Hii fujo yote wananiletea. Mbona hawakuletea Kibaki? Mbona hawakuletea Uhuru? Hii madharau na kiburi ni ya nini? Na wao ni viongozi wamechochea hiyo maneno. Wanalipa vijana kwenda choma biashara ya ule. Kwenda choma biashara ya ule. Wale wote ambao wamepatikana katika hiyo njama ya kuiba na kupora mali ya wananchi na kuchoma biashara za watu wengine, watachukuliwa hatua ya sheria na wote watafungwa. Mtu ambaye anachukua moto, anaenda kuchoma biashara ya mtu, anaenda kuchoma mali ya watu wengine, mtu kama huyo apigwe risasi miguu, aende hospitali, akienda kotini. Yes. Wasimuue, lakini wapige hii miguu ivunjike ndio aende kotini, aende hospitali, akienda kotini. Hapana. Hatuwezi kukubali mtu ambaye anaamuka kwake anaenda kuchoma mali ya mtu mwingine, biashara ya mtu mwingine. Iko haki hapo kweli? Hapana, hiyo mchezo watu waache.
In a quick rejoinder, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has responded to President William Ruto on his coup allegations, dismissing them as baseless. The former Deputy President said there are only plans to dethrone the head of state constitutionally through the ballot in 2027. Gachagua was speaking at a press conference in Nairobi, where he assured the president that the one-term movement is unstoppable and that there were no plans to overthrow the government.
Morning. I've seen Ruto quivering and wailing in uncontrollable anger. Mr. Ruto, excessive anger is not a solution. I want, with a lot of humility, to advise you to stop being angry. That will not help. You need to know what you need to do because you have not been listening to the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya are more angry than you are. They are angry because you have overtaxed them. There is wanton corruption. There is abductions and extrajudicial killings. There is ethnic profiling and other ills that bedevil your administration. If you want to be calm, please abolish the housing levy and give dignity to the peacekeepers. Stop killing and profiling the young people. Listen to them. Give hustlers the jobs that you promised them. Mr. William Ruto, you are the one who promised. You cannot cry today that you have no solution, saying that other presidents have not been able to do it. You are the one who promised these young people. Yes, Mr. President, we agree there were other presidents before you, as you have rightly stated, and true, they never went through what you are experiencing today. May it please you to know that the reason why Kenyans rarely had problems with them, Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta were guided by the Constitution and the rule of law. They did not capture our constitutional institutions to work for them, instead of working for Kenyans. This narrative you are creating that there is an attempt to overthrow your government is for you to have the opportunity to use the Terrorism Act to profile communities and to persecute leaders who are opposed to your administration. Please relax. We want you to serve your one term. Nobody wants you out of government, and constitutionally, nobody has any plan to overthrow your administration, Mr. President. We want to face you on the ballot in August 2027. So just relax and stop crying wolf that anybody wants you out of office and constitutionally. There is no leader here who is planning a coup, and none has the capacity. And nobody is interested. The leaders in this country, and indeed 95% of the Kenyan population, want to humiliate you at the ballot.
At the same time, the former Deputy President, GACHAGUA, has accused President William Ruto of profiling the Kikuyu community through targeted criminal operations. In GACHAGUA's words, Ruto profiled Kikuyus in the 2007 post-election violence and is back to finish his mission during his tenure as president. According to the former DP, the targeted profiling of the Kikuyu community is through the destruction of their business to sabotage them economically. Furthermore, GACHAGUA says that terrorism charges are also used as a weapon to profile citizens of the Mount Kenya region. He further alleged that the state unleashed a well-organized militia to maim, kill, and destroy property during Sabasaba protests and blame it on the Kikuyu community.
Unbeknown to these peaceful demonstrators, the tired regime of Ruto had a well-organized state-sponsored militia in cohort with the police and other state security agencies to maim, kill and destroy property, and blame it on the Kikuyu community and specific leaders who are perceived unfriendly to this killer regime. This targeted profiling of the Kikuyu community and destruction of their specific business is an economic sabotage not new to the narrative of William Ruto. On the 30th day, this state-sponsored militia, under instructions and guidance from the police, were dropped in different places in the country, and mostly in the Mount Kenya region and other regions not perceived friendly to the government. They were strategically dropped past midnight, and then roadblocks were placed by the police while others was dropped early in the morning. The militia were procured by Ruto. Governors and MPs allied to him. These regions include Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, Kisii, Nyeri, Murang'a, Kiambu, Kirinyaga, Meru, Nyandarua, Kajiado, Kitengela, Ongata-Rongai, Machakos, Embu, and in Wote. They had clear instructions to loot and destroy specific properties under police supervision. A killer squad of 101 that works under the Director General of the National Intelligence Service, Nuruddin Haji, was armed with assault rifles and drove in a convoy of unmarked Subarus, shooting and killing innocent protesters aimlessly in the streets.
President William Ruto has reiterated the government's support for the National Police Service amid allegations of extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances and abductions in the wake of anti-police brutality protests. The president also criticized court petitioners who sought to have the court bar police from using tear gas canisters and live bullets during demonstrations, saying it was the police's constitutional right to protect life and property. Over 100 people have been killed in the period June 2024 and July 2025 in demonstrations led by Gen Zs.
Yeah, police have a right, constitutional right, to use whatever means possible to make sure the lives of Kenyans are protected, their property is protected, and they need to take steps to make sure that if life and property is in danger, the police must act accordingly. Tumeelewana, my friends? Ati anasema ati siku iko protest ama hii vitu vita ati polisi wakae sijui wafanye nini. Wakuja wapigia watu makofi wakivunja mali ya watu. Hata nimeona ati leo ati kuna mtu kotini amesema ati Inspector General ya police asiweke roadblock, ati asitumie tear gas, asitumie water cannon kuprotect mali na maisha ya Wakenya wengine. Na huyo mwenye anasema hiyo, kwake kuna askari wanamchunga, kwa gari yake iko askari anamwendesha, alafu anasema mali ya wananchi wengine haina maana, polisi wasichunge mali ya wananchi wengine. Honestly, how can anybody say that the police cannot protect the lives and properties of other Kenyans? There is a reason why there is a roadblock. There is a reason why police have tear gas. There is a reason why water cannons are there. They are supposed to be used to protect the lives and property of other Kenyans when they are in danger.
The Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya has raised concern about the rise in cases of women being harassed, assaulted, and some reportedly raped during the unrest. According to FIDA, 25 incidents of rape, gang rape, and attempted rape have been documented. FIDA has condemned the use of sexual violence to intimidate women and discourage them from participating in protests.
We are staring at the precipice of anarchy in our beloved nation, and we must state it as it is. That is what we are staring at. FIDA Kenya is angered. We are devastated by the reports and the visuals that have flooded the media and social platforms. The whole country has seen viral footage of armed police officers, some in plain clothes, carrying special weapons, shooting live bullets into crowds of unarmed protesters, unarmed Kenyans, following them into their houses. That is how low we have sunk as a country.
Even in ordinary circumstances, reporting cases of sexual violence is extremely difficult. As from June, the cases that we received were 21 that we're investigating to be able to isolate which ones were specifically from the protest or protest related. Remember, what we are seeing is also a breakdown in law and order, and that is part of what we are really calling upon the National Police Service to help us address, because women and girls in particular, and even boys, are predisposed to sexual violence in any instance of anarchy.
We welcome the intervention of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, this is the OHCHR, which has called for a speedy, independent, and transparent investigation into all cases of human rights violations and excessive use of force by the National Police Service since June 2025. We also call for accountability for victims, and accountability for victims and survivors must be achieved.
The family of the late Boniface Kariuki, a mask vendor who was shot by a police officer in Nairobi's Central Business District, has called for an end to police brutality in the country, which has left families in tears. The late Boniface was shot in Nairobi's Central Business District on June 13th in the glare of camera lenses before spending another 13 days in hospital in the intensive care unit. He was later declared brain dead by the Kenyatta National Hospital before succumbing to his injuries 1 day later.
Me a lot knowing today that my friend who was working tirelessly in selling masks just to make a niche, he was shot dead by a police. It also pains as a country in knowing that many people have died because of police brutality that have been happening in the country.
We are here because of one of our own, just to earn a living hawking a mask. He was killed. And we pray that justice will be served for this family. A bullet silenced his life. We pray that the Lord will comfort each one of his family, not only them, and many others.
The Kenyan government, headed by Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the president, malizeni muende. Malizeni tu muende. Na msipochunga hamtamaliza. Because enough is enough. Hatuwezi maze leo tuko All Saint Cathedral. Tena maze nishapigiwa simu ya Ndumberi. Natoka hapa naenda tena kwa familia nyingine, mtoto amekufa. Tena naanza kuchanga. Tena saa tu tena naenda kumwaga mchanga. Tena nikienda kulala niko na mtoto maze.
On Thursday we are supposed to go back in court because last week we were there, and since the case was miscellaneous ilibadilishwa to murder. So hapo tunarudi tena on Thursday, na tunaomba bado wa Kenya tushikamane, tusaidiane katika hii safari. The only thing we are still seeking, it is justice for Boniface Mwangi Kariuki. That is the only thing that we want as a family. That is the only thing Auntie I know anataka, and that is the only thing I know Uncle wants. The thing that you need as a family is justice.
The Murang'a County business community has pledged to work together to safeguard their enterprises from goons believed to have coordinated and planned attacks targeting key businesses. They noted that in Murang'a, Magunas and county supermarkets were among the main targets. The group led by Joseph Mwangi, the chairperson of the Murang'a business community, said the attackers were unfamiliar faces and had been ferried in to destroy prominent businesses that provide employment to many local residents.
Tunakemea na tunasema hatuungi mkono vyovyote wale waporaji wa mali waliletwa kutoka nje ya Murang'a wakakuja kuharibu biashara zetu, na tunasema wengi wao na wale tumeambiwa na wanabiashara ni kwamba hao watu sio wa Murang'a wale waliharibu mali, lakini pengine wale waliwaleta ni kutoka Murang'a na wale walilengwa ni watu wa Murang'a wanabiashara. Na tunasema huwezi kuwa ati umeajiriwa kwa supermarket na unaenda kupiga supermarket. It's not possible. So tunasema wakati umefika wenye biashara wajipange, ndio tulinde biashara zetu, kwa sababu wale wanakuja kuharibu biashara zetu sio watu wa kutoka eneo letu na sio watu wa kutoka kaunti yetu.
Wenye walikuwa huku, wenye walikuja maandamano sio Gen Z. Au ni watu na ni watu waliletwa na mabazi wakawekwa pale njia ya hospitali, alafu wakateremka na walikuja hapa kuharibu vitu zetu. Wenye wanalipa watu wakuje wachukue vitu za wenyewe. Kama tumekuchagua, kama hatujakuchagua, hiyo ni kitu baya sana. Juu wewe mtoto wako ako kwa nyumba na umemwacha kwa nyumba, unakuja unachukua watoto wa wenyewe unawalipa wakuje waandamane. Wewe ufikirie sana, na wako hata atapigwa risasi akiwa kwa nyumba. Hiyo ni kitu ya kwanza nataka kusema. Wenye wanalipa watu wakuje maandamano, hiyo siku ingine hatutakubali mkuje muharibu vitu za wenyewe kama vile mliharibu matunda yangu. Sasa hiyo siku ingine tutakuwa na nyinyi bamba tu bamba.
All right, at that point, allow us to take a quick breather right here on EBN Prime Edition. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly with more news making headlines on the other side. Courts with charges of protest disruptions following the Sabasaba demonstrations on Monday. In addition, they were accused of damaging property. The National Police Service on Monday said over 500 people had been arrested countrywide following the day-long protests, which resulted into chaos in some sections of the country. In Narok, all 24 persons arrested were released from police custody.
If the court were to impose terms which are unlikely to be fulfilled by the persons before their choose persons, then their rights under Article 49(1)(h) of the Constitution will not be enjoyed. And therefore, this is the only place, my Lord, where we feel secure. This is the only place we feel secure as citizens of this country. And I'm kindly making an application to admit these persons before you on personal bond, so that they can rejoin their parents. They can also participate in nation building, and they can enjoy secure protection of the law, as this is the only place where we feel protected.
Angry Nyamira residents torched the Itibo police station after a student was reportedly fatally shot by a police officer on Tuesday. According to reports, the student at Nyamira National Polytechnic was among the protesters who demonstrated over poor infrastructure, including roads and security lights in the area. The shooting at Itibo Market angered demonstrators who retaliated by setting the local police station on fire. Details about the student's identity and the circumstances of the shooting or the event leading to the confrontation still remain unclear. This event echoes similar occurrences such as the destruction and burning of Mawego police station during Albert Ojwang's funeral procession in Homa Bay.
Wanaandamana, wakatokea chini, wanakuja na mawe na marungu. Nikauliza ni nini ninawafanya waandamane. Nikasikia ya kwamba chambo lenye linawafanya waandamane wako na shida ya barabara yao imeharibika, ya kuingia institute na ya kutoka Tombe mpaka institute huko Ekerubogie Tai. Sasa ndipo hao watoto walikuja wakaanza kukimbiza watu, wakaanza kubomoa vitu kidogo, wakaanza kuchoma manyumba mavioski hapa. Ndipo askari walitoka hapa wakaanza kuzuia hao, wakalisist, wakakuja tu na mawe na marungu. Ndipo askari akapiga risasi 2 kwa hewa.
Tulikuwa jana maandamano ya parapara. Hiyo kijana ameliwa, walikuwa na hiyo askari lopa, walikuwa wamesikana na yeye pamoja. Walikuwa wanaongea vizuri na yeye. Sasa wanaongea, wakafika kwa police station. Ndio nilisikia shooting. Nikatoroka tena, nikarudi hivi nikapata amelala chini.
Hatumii pombe, hatumii chochote ya kulewa. Yeye ni mfundi wa kujenga manyumba. Sasa niliitwa tu ati kijana yako amekufa, amepigwa risasi. Sasa mimi nataka kuomba serikali nisaidie, usaidizi na kwa hiyo askari ambaye alipiga hiyo kijana risasi, aulize ni nini, kwa nini alipiga yeye risasi. Na hiyo kijana nasikia kukuwa na mawe ya kupiga yeye, na hiyo kijana yangu ni mpora, hataki maneno ya vita.
Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has announced a nationwide audit of health facilities under the Taifa Care program, vowing a firm crackdown on fraud and malpractice, particularly in private institutions. Speaking to the media, Duale expressed concern over rising cases of fraudulent claims within the healthcare initiative, warning that facilities found culpable will face strict penalties, including closure and legal action. The CS emphasized the government's commitment to ensuring the integrity of the Taifa Care program, which is designed to provide affordable and accessible healthcare to all Kenyans. He warned healthcare providers that misuse of public funds meant for health services will not be tolerated.
On 4 key areas. On the operation of Social Health Authority, the operation of Digital Health Agency, how we are reforming and increasing the fill rate of KEMSA from 51% to 90% by putting more money, both government and the private sector. The issue of how we have dealt with perennial healthcare workforce dispute, and I want to thank the committee for giving us enough resources, including UHC, which we are going to turn them into permanent and pensionable after we do a countrywide audit, which has started today. both my PS and the CEO of Council of Governors have begun this morning. And thirdly, I am ready to answer to the issues raised on bed capacity, why we are closing fraudulent, fake, ghost facilities, mainly in private and faith-based, mainly in the private, in fact. And finally, give update on the registration of SHA, both those who will access the primary health care, those who will access SHIF, that is the insurance part of it, and how we are going to deal with the matter of emergency chronic illness fund, which Parliament has given us money. And of course, with the Council of Governors, KEMSA is both our baby, because we are supplying drugs to the last mile, facilities owned by the councils of governors, like our county leaders. And secondly, on the National Equipment Program, which again, we work in collaboration with counties on the matter of fee for service, where the national government is not paying for the equipment, the county government is not paying for the equipment, the Kenya citizens are not paying for, but that vendor and supplier will be paid for his CT scan, for his dialysis machine, by SHA, based on the number of citizens who use that facility. So we have not finished. KEMSA has not presented yet. And Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council, our regulator, has not presented. So that's all I can say.
Welcome now to sports. As the second term of the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association Championships kick off across the country this week, schools are finalizing preparations for what promises to be a highly competitive season. In Kakamega County, former girls volleyball champions Bishop Sulumeti, who reigned in 2018 and 2019, are making a strong comeback after missing out on the Western Region Games for the past 3 years. Our reporter Duncan Kwoba visited the former queens of volleyball and filed the following report.
Western Region Championships are setting to begin this week, with topmost teams across various disciplines ready to battle it out for a coveted chance to represent their regions at the national stage. The tournament, which will be hosted in Kakamega, will feature similar powerhouse and the rising challengers. Bishop Sulumeti girls are in the final stages of preparation, determined to reclaim the title they lost during the 3-year dry spell after COVID-19 pandemic. The team is sharpening its tactics ahead of the tough campaign, eyeing revenge against regional rivals Lugulu and Mwitoti, who have repeatedly blocked their pathway to national glory.
Na matarajio yetu iko juu sana, from our coaches, teachers, the principal. Kila mtu anatarajia mengi, na pia sisi tunawaambia tutaenda mbali sana.
Under the tutelage of former volleyball player Samuel Wanyama, Bishop Sulumeti's side is showing a renewed strength and high hopes. Their recent victory over Butere girls in Kakamega County semi-final is a signal of their growing momentum. Despite having lost twice to Mwitoti recently, Coach Wanyama says the unwavering support from the school administration is key to the team resilience.
Msaada wa juu sana na ameamua kusupport watoto na kusupport talent katika shule hii. Kwamba kwenda mbele, na hata vile tunaenda katika mfumo wa CBC mwaka kesho, tuna imani ya kwamba shule itaweza kupewa nafasi ya kuendeleza kukuza talanta na vipaji vya watoto wetu.
National level maturity is clearly visible in the pitch, where the entire team appears sharper and more confident, hungrier for silverware.
For us, sasa tuko na 2 players for national teams. At least wamekuwa experience, na tukienda kucheza tuko na more experience than others. Sasa tunatumaini kufika mbali.
Wameamua vile tunaenda huko
wanaenda kutubeba, atakaa sisi tutakuwa chini, lakini hao watatusaidia juu wameenda far. Hadi pia sisi tuonekane tufike nationals, pia sisi tuchukuliwe twende mbali vile wameenda.
The school's lawn tennis is stepping up, inspired by their volleyball counterparts. The tennis coach Paul Kasiti is opportunistic about leading his players to national championship success in lawn tennis.
Mchezo ambao ni changa kabisa, lakini naona kwamba kwa hali ya bidii naona watoto wamejikaza na hata wakafaulu kufuzu katika kuenda kwa kiwango cha regionals.
Bishop Sulumeti's player in table tennis and badminton are proving their mettle as they prepare to face off with their best form across the region. This resurgence has sparked enthusiasm from the school leadership. The sports department under Mr. Mwanza Asman is now investing in the right equipment and infrastructure to ensure athletic excellence goes hand in hand with academic performance.
Lakini mwaka huu tumerejea kwa kishindo, kwa maana ule principal tuko naye, mwalimu mkuu anatupea support mzuri na anatufadhili katika hali, katika mazoezi, katika tournaments tumeenda, na tunamshukuru sana kwa njia hiyo, imetusaidia kuwa na timu bora mwaka huu.
The school principal, Mrs. Rebecca Alwena, has also taken a spiritual approach, tactic and daily rosary routine, hoping to restore Bishop Sulumeti's reputation both in the pitch and in classroom in line with the country news competency-based curriculum.
That is in table tennis, alafu kuna lawn tennis, kuna wasichana wawili. Kwa jumla tunasema kwamba shule ya Bishop Sulumeti ni shule tajika, na si kwamba ni kwa masomo tu, hata muziki wasichana wanaelekea kiwango cha regionals pia, na tunajua watafuzu hadi wafike kiwango cha kitaifa.
Duncan Kuba for EBN News Sports.
All right, thank you, Koba, for that brilliant piece concerning the Kenya Secondary Schools Association Games in Western Region. Now, we wrap it up at that point tonight, but allow me to be able to thank Kennedy Jumba Asirigwa, who's watching tonight, Kelvin Muchai, who says following from Kitale, thank you very much. Seth Bradley watching from Kitengela, asante sana, as well as Nekoye Janet, who is watching as well tonight. Thank you for your feedback as well that has come in tonight. We appreciate you and your company. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Laura Omondi. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Good night.